Oh, yeah, I love it. Standing outside downtown Utah. Is that downtown Utah or downtown Provo?
It's downtown Utah. It's that's the Salt Lake Temple behind me. I thought you'd enjoy that. It's a beautiful architecture.
Nice.
There may be a tree in the way or two, but just wanted to bring it live on location to the heartbeat of the NHL.
There you go. If you're watching the stream at sportscage.com, you see it there, Eric Francis. Everybody's walking by with orange bags or carts behind you, though, Eric. I don't know if that's a thing in Salt Lake City. I was talking to my wife the other day, and
Halloween.
I was like, yeah, Eric's in Vegas. He's at New York. I'm jealous. She's like, you don't worry, you travel enough. And I'm like, still, I can be jealous of him. And now he's going over to Utah to watch the Flames there tonight. Let's start with Utah. I know we're going to start with the clip. Let's start with Utah. What's your first thoughts getting there, getting to the rink today, the old Delta Center? I know they say there's some sightline issues. Take us through what your first thoughts were.
Yeah, you know what? Anyone who watches the game or any game that Utah plays this year on TV is going to be really struck by the fact that, kind of like when you're watching the World Championships or something like that, right behind the net, there's a wall, and on both ends, and they're going to renovate that. Like the Delta Center has been around for a long time, but it is in great shape, and they're going to renovate this thing. I thought they were, for some reason, I thought they were building a new building here. They're not. This is the building that they're going to share with the NBA team, and it is spectacular. In the four corners up top, you can't see the goal. That's a bit of a problem, but you can see one goal. You don't need to see both. I mean, why pay full price? But there is a seat there in all four corners, kind of where a balcony. I stood on there today. I put a video on Twitter if anyone wanted to look at it, at Eric Francis. You stand up, you're 10 feet above the glass. You can reach over the glass if you wanted to. They're the four best seats in the National Hockey League in the history of the league. They're absolutely amazing. You're right on top of the action, literally, and you're not even protected by the netting, which is kind of interesting. You're protected by the glass, but if you stand up, all bets are off. But it is a spectacular building. I really believe that, to watch a game here. And kind of the irony of that is they just came from a building that I used to argue was probably the best place ever to go see an NHL game, which was in Phoenix at the old college rink there. You know, like, what was that, only 8,000 seats? Like, there wasn't a bad seat in the house. I think the worst seat was 18 rows up. And now they come here, and depending on where you're sitting, you could have one of the best seats in the league as well. So pretty cool. I'm not suggesting there's a whole lot to do outside of the game here in Utah, but I'm just telling you, when you get to the Delta Center, you won't be disappointed.
Oh, I'm sure there's some kind of fun there that you can find and have. I'm just watching that. Darren and I are watching that video right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is good. That's a marketing person's Disneyland right there. They're going to figure out something to market that. The NHL's best seat in the house, brought to you by whatever. You know what, though? Yeah. It's funny. When the Coyotes, the first few years there, I was in Phoenix, and they played at America West, which half of it, or not half of it, remember this? A bit of it hung over the ice, and you could kind of only see that blue line down. But regardless, it was downtown. That place was packed. Jeremy Roenick, Keith Tkachuk there. Tempo Numanen was there for a bit. Oleg Tvernovsky, just an absolute liability on the back end.
Super fun.
But those Coyote games are so much fun. Downtown Phoenix, and it was an obstructed view. What else is going on with the Flames as you guys go into Utah, Eric? What's the big news?
Well, they just got pumped 5-0 in Vegas. Kind of the first time this year that the Flames really threw together a dud. And so they've switched up the line significantly. Sam Honzek is kind of their rookie revelation this year. He's back in the lineup after being injured. But, tonight's game is all really revolving around Michael Backlund. Plays his 1,000th game in the National Hockey League. And they've got shirts and hats made up, and all the nameplates have photos of his family on them. And there's just a whole lot surrounding it. He's a real class act, captain of the team, beloved in Calgary. And, just a year ago, he didn't know whether he was going to stay in Calgary or not. And he decided to kind of go against the grain and stay in Calgary for a moment like this, where he could celebrate 1,000 games in a city where it means something. Like, if he had gone somewhere else and was only his 10th game into playing for the Seattle Kraken, I'm not sure tonight anybody outside of the Backlund family would care that he was playing his 1,000th game. So he's flown in 20 people from Sweden tonight, including his 6 best buddies. But what I think is really funny is he's a real creature of habit, and he's always just scoffed. Like, if there's one thing I know about Backlund, it's like he hates coffee in North America. So he's always only drank Swedish coffee, and I think it's a lot stronger. I don't know. I've never tested it. And I asked all his teammates. He wouldn't let any of them test it. He likes to hoard it to himself. But he brought his own coffee machine for this trip because he knew so many people. He knew so many people from Sweden were coming, and he didn't want them to have to suffer through North American coffee. So he brought his own, which I think is pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
My son will talk about how the food was odd in Sweden and Helsinki, which it's a little bit different. The coffee's unreal, and they actually have really good beer. And obviously, Zins are massive in Sweden. They love their Zins. Colorado, I sent you this tweet. Like, I'm wondering here if a guy's thinking about sprinkling, or girl, on the Avs. Watch out, because the Avs are without their top nine skaters right now. Like, they're piecing things together there in Colorado.
Yet, what's remaining is still, like, you still think they could probably win a fair number of games with just Rantanen, McKinnon, Makar, and that back end they've got. Now, their goaltending struggled this year, but you're right. All those injuries right now, it just explains how they just lost the other night to Chicago at home. Yeah. I mean, that's almost unthinkable. Those guys, I guess, are not enough to carry the team by themselves, and they're going to need, I think when people look at Colorado, they look at the depth and they say it's not there like it used to be when this team was a whole lot more formidable. And that's the big difference right now. And now you're seeing it with all these injuries. Like, it's like a no-name squad that's, kind of being pieced around McKinnon and Makar and company. And so there's going to be some growing pains right now for the next little while. And guys like Gabriel Landeskog, I'm not sure he's ever coming back. Like, when I talk to people in and around that organization, the reconstruction and stuff that they're trying to do for him physically, it just may never take. And so that's their captain and their heartbeat. So that's the biggest loss of all of them.
After watching that thing on Amazon Prime too, it's sad that if he doesn't make it back, because you kind of really get how he's such a great guy. All right, we have the clip here ready. You sent this to me, Eric, the other day. Marc-André Fleury plays his last game yesterday in Pittsburgh. You sent me this during COVID, I think. Marc-André Fleury, you got a hold of his agent, and he did this for you. Curtis, go ahead and play it.
I don't know. Like, I don't want anything different than another game, right? I don't expect much else. I don't know. I feel like sometimes growing older, I get a little softer than I used to. With emotions, feels like, I don't know if they're kids or something. But anyway, so I think just maybe deep breath, look around, take a good look around, right? To keep good memories. Like I said, I was very fortunate to play here for so long, and like the souvenirs from this place. So it'll be nice to do it one more time.
Okay, that's a great clip. That wasn't the clip that I sent the boys yesterday. I don't know if they can pull it up quickly on email. What the clip is Eric, take us through how you got it and basically what it is if we can't play it.
Well, we all remember, and we can play it another day if we don't have, but when I think of Marc-André Fleury, and I watched how emotional that was from the other night, like that clip you just played was before the game, but after the game, everybody who saw the interviews, like he was fighting back tears, and he didn't do a very good job. It was kind of beautiful, and he thanked the crowd, and it was a beautiful love-in. His team won. He helped them win 3 Stanley Cups. It's just a beautiful relationship between him and Pittsburgh, but also the relationship that he has with the National Hockey League and its fans. Like, he's the ultimate prankster. Like, I dare say he might be the most beloved player around the league in terms of just the way people have really gotten attached to him. So with all that in mind, it was COVID, 3-4 years ago, and my son was celebrating a birthday. He was, I think at that time he was 10 or 11, and he couldn't have a birthday because nobody could leave the house. And it was, you kind of felt bad for these kids, and all of us were going through a lot, but I just thought, you know what? His favorite player in the NHL had always been Marc-André Fleury. I reached out to his agent, Alan Walsh, and I just said, is there any chance I could get a video from Fleury for my son? It's his 10th birthday, and maybe he could just say something. And I wasn't sure if I'd get anything. I'd say it was 2 hours later I had a video from Marc-André Fleury. And if we can't play it today, we'll play it another day. But it still gives me goosebumps because of what it meant to my son and what it meant to me. And it's that personal touch that I think made Fleury so popular in the National Hockey League. He'll be missed.
Yeah, no, it's hopefully we can definitely.
Hey Cole, it's Marc-André Fleury. I just wanted to say hi. I heard your 10th birthday is up. I just want to wish you a happy birthday. Hopefully you enjoy it. Sorry you can't go out with all your friends like you would have. And also thanks for being such a great Golden Knights fan. All the best, and we'll see you in Calgary. Bye.
That is like you said. So what I was trying to think, Eric, and I'm like, hockey players are like usually always here, and people always say they're always the nicest and all that. But I don't know if I've ever heard of a nicer guy. Like I remember meeting Archer's Urbe once, and he was like such a nice guy and just so down to earth. Just some of the Sasky Prairie Boys. But for him to do that just means so much. What do you think Marc-André Fleury will do, future-wise? What do you think's in his future? Do you think it's broadcasting? He's such a prankster. He's such a bit, or is he kind of just one of those guys that just doesn't leave the game, but doesn't grind it out day in, day out?
I would love to know what he's thinking in terms of what he'll do after hockey. I do think he'd be great to be one of the faces of the National Hockey League. Whether he's an ambassador of sorts, that would be an easy one. Either go back to Pittsburgh or do it for someone else, or be a broadcaster. I wonder as a broadcaster, though, like, here's a guy who I'm not sure he can ever be critical or, of anybody, because those are his brothers all around the league. And I think that, but his personality alone would be enough for people to tune in, and he'd just be great for the game. So I haven't heard what he's planning on doing. I don't think he knows. I think at first he's just going to want to step back for a year or so. Still got a pretty young family, and I think he'd want to spend some time with them. But after time, anybody who spends a whole lot of time with their family like that for a year, they'll eventually want to go back to work. I can say that. I can say that because I got kids.
I think, Eric, sorry, DA here, I think he should personally throw his body into science because he still looks 21. I think they got to figure out how this guy looks 21 at his age. Like, it's incredible. And you know what? I'm a Knights fan and sort of jumped on the bandwagon when they came in. I don't know if there's another guy who's made such an impression at all different stops. Like, I remember the angst when he left the Knights and he went to Chicago and was a big deal. And like, he just instantly becomes a face of the franchise and a local kind of hero, for lack of a better word. It's really been an amazing run for him.
It hasn't. And when you remember when he went to Vegas, like, it was kind of like, that's too bad that he's going to have to end his career, in Vegas or somewhere else. And here we are. He's got another stop in him as well. It's been a lot of years since he left Pittsburgh now, and I'm not sure anyone thought that was possible. Don't forget also, guys, when you think about his career, there were a couple lulls there where, like, he couldn't stop a beach ball, and he didn't know what to say, what to do. Do you remember this? Like, this was when he was in Pittsburgh, and, like, everyone thought his career's over, like, had written him off. He's old enough. Probably then he was only 31 or 32, but it was a real bump in the road for him, and he overcame all that to the point where still over the last 3-4 years in other cities, he's been an extremely reliable backup. So kudos to him also for persevering and fighting through those real rough patches.
Okay, so once again, it is the Flames and Utah tonight. Looking, Utah is a 1.5 point favorite. Have you seen any Flame fans there? And then are there a lot of Utah hockey team jerseys, excitement at all, Eric? Probably.
Yeah, it's funny. We went into some fancy restaurant last night that someone recommended, and it's one of those restaurants where an old school Italian restaurant, and all the photos on the wall are all the famous people that have eaten there. And there wasn't a single hockey player in there. I mean, it's new, right? But it's all NBA players and Hollywood stars. But I think in 3 or 4 years, you're going to see that wall filled with hockey players as well, because I don't think it'll be long before this city really wraps its arms around this hockey team as well. Because also, I think they're going to be a damn good team for a lot of years moving forward here. They've built something pretty special from the ground up over the last couple of years. And this city is going to really benefit from that. So I'm excited for this city. And yeah, you do see some people walk around jerseys. I'm debating whether to get one or not. Like I love the baby blue. I think their color scheme is awesome.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like the Utah Hockey Club, but hey, it's a genius marketing thing, guys. Everyone's going to buy that. Everyone in this city is going to have one by the end of the year. And then they're going to do the old bait and switch and change it to the Yeti. And everyone's going to have one of those as well. So you get double your money if you're the hockey club.
Yeah. Like the main Black Bears colors. You can't go wrong. Toronto Argonauts too, right?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. Double blue like that. Yeah, so that there's probably a lot of Karl Malone and John Stockton pictures in that steakhouse.
A lot of short shorts.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. That was a different time. All right. Okay, I want a full recap of the Utah nightlife after the game tonight and all that. We'll catch up on Monday and get that from you.
Okay.
Appreciate the standing right by the temple or whatever it is downtown too. Nice touch.
Scene Center, boys. Scene Center. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Oh, one more thing. Victory round of the birthday clip, because I wasn't sending the audio the first time.
Hey Cole, it's Marc-André Fleury. I just wanted to say hi. I heard your 10th birthday is up. I just want to wish you a happy birthday. Hopefully you enjoy it. Sorry you can't go out with all your friends like you would have. And also thanks for being such a great Golden Knights fan. All the best, and we'll see you in Calgary. Bye.
There it is on the stream if you heard it. Okay, Eric, you're free to go. Thanks so much, buddy.
Cheers, boys. We'll talk soon. Talk Monday.
All right.